Steve and Teri, and I just feel like every time I start, I think, oh yeah, but there's that, and I want to try to get as much as I can down, because this is an amazing couple. Most of the people here know Steve, because Steve has been an incredibly active member of his community from the beginning, but especially in this last year. We were talking about in Vision Council, like we were going to have to channel our inner Steve, because how are we going to find a way to fill in all the holes that he would be leaving behind in not being as active here. Luckily, he's still going to be here, just not like he has been. He was the spackle in our center, and everything that needed happening, he seemed he was doing. So Steve is somebody who is a generous man. He has such a hearty laugh. Steve and I got to do laughter yoga training together, leader training, and it was like this whole afternoon I got to listen to him laugh. There's just nothing like it. He's somebody who, he likes to be in the background, and he has from the beginning, and I know that he was all about wanting to honor Teri, but in my mind, one of the biggest honorings of Teri is the kind of man that loves her. Yeah. We've all had relationships, I'm sure, that left something to be desired, and to know that Teri is with a man like Steve says more about her than anything else that I can say. So, Steve, we just honor you tremendously. Probably be a little long-winded, but I'm going to give you all a chance to have something to say if you want to.
Perfect. Perfect.
So one of the things that I want to say is that Teri is the foundation of this community. For those of you who have only started coming more recently, you don't even know Teri. Maybe you've come on a time when she was up front leading the chants. Maybe you have children and you've seen how magical she is with children. But chances are you don't even know her. But what I want to say to you is, to the extent that you know this community and you love this community, you know Teri, because she is the cornerstone of this community. Teri has been a minister, which just kind of blew her mind. She never thought she would be a minister. It was like, are you kidding me? That was her reaction to the idea of being a minister. But she didn't even like going to church. She didn't even like the Bible. In fact, she thought it was an instrument of destruction. So she was like the most unlikely candidate you could think of. And yet she is a person who has a strong practice of meditation and a strong commitment to listening to the call within. And so when Spirit called her to ministry, she listened and she followed, even though it was taking her someplace that she just couldn't even believe she was being asked to go. And yet she found her path when she did that. She started out in Coos Bay, serving as a minister there before she went to ministry school, because that's just kind of who she is. She does it and then figures it out as she goes along. But that was back in 1996. She was ordained as a youth minister in the year 2000. And we began our community here in Central Oregon in 2011. 2001. Numbers are not my special. Anyway, 11 years ago, 2001. She had the foresight in the founding of this community to do it based on vision. And it was something that was created in the community. There were, it seems to me, about a dozen people, something like that, a dozen to 18, that were the original founding members. And we gathered together in a room on envisioned what kind of a community did we want. So the original vision statement that we have came out of that visioning. So from the very beginning, visioning and community, those have been key parts of who we are. And that's because of Teri's leadership. She is a strong leader. Surprisingly, if you know her, if you've ever seen her speak, you would not believe this. She is a complete introvert. And, I have dragged her to many a networking event. And left me. And left me. No, her joke. But when she is in front of a group, she is a star because she is illuminated from within by a passion to empower others. That's what drives her. It's easy to look at somebody who is talented and bright and shining and say, oh, they just want to be a star. She is all about letting that light flow from inside her to empower others, and she has done it in so many ways. And those of us in the group who have known her a long time will all attest to that. That's who she is. One of the things that Teri has done is she has created classes of great depth. In addition to week after week after week, the sermons that she gives that had such nourishment. The classes that I took with her, I learned so much. Bible metaphysics, teachings on prosperity, but I also learned about the people in the groups I was in with. When I think about people like Teri Johnson or Joanne Passmore, people that have been here from the very beginning, I know them on a level that is deeper than anything that I could get in other ways because of the kind of sharing that happened in those groups. And that was Teri's teaching style. She got everybody involved and she modeled that for me. I've learned more from her than I can ever remember to tell you. It's kind of like when you're growing up, you learn so much from your parents. Not to say that she's my mother, but I mean, our relationship has been that close that I've learned so much from her, and you don't even know anymore what you learned because it's become so much a part of you. And I have such gratitude to Teri for everything that I have learned.
Aww.
She's taught meditation. She's taught prayer. Our whole center was founded with prayer as just such an important part. And from the beginning, we had a prayer council as well as the executive council. We all had prayer partners, and I was lucky enough to have Teri as my prayer partner. So for years and years and years, every single day, we prayed together. It was the most incredible friendship that we had. We never hung out and played together, but we prayed together, and we created together. And we have a bond that is so deep. It's just unseverable. I know that I am a minister today, which, much like Teri was, are you serious? I'm not going to be a minister. I grew up Catholic. There weren't any women ministers in the Catholic Church. I'd already done the nun thing, and that was beyond me. And so she planted the seed of, I think you'd make a good minister. I'm like, nuts, totally nuts. But she kind of kept at it, and then she created this program called the Ministry of Light. And as a result, I'm a minister today. Jim Passmore, it was a long-time dream of his. He's a minister today because of that program. I got to travel around the country with Teri doing coaching with her. And it was so much fun, and I learned so much. I learned so much about speaking and leadership from Teri. She's somebody that just believes in empowering other people. She's generous, and she doesn't hold it into herself. She even taught me about style. I used to, we had this great shopping spree to Portland because in one of her lifetimes she owned a clothing store, and she had learned for herself how to put things together in a style way. And at that time, my style was just kind of all flowy and all over the place and whatever was in the closet, and it didn't matter. And she helped me to see the importance of having not only flow in my clothes, like in my life, but also power, because that was not being seen by people. And my clothing made that statement. And it totally changed how I did my wardrobe. I know that sounds superficial, but women, you're all here with me, right? It's like what we wear makes a big difference. And ever since that trip with her, I love getting dressed in the morning. I love it because she taught me that. So there are all kinds of things. We used to play this game when we did road trips called the alphabet game. Teri grew up under circumstances that were very, very challenging, that would have squashed someone lesser than her. But one of the things that she got from her mother was amazing creativity. And they would take these road trips. They would say, okay, it's your turn to pick. And they'd take the map of Oregon and go, boom, oh, we're going to Paisley. And off they go for the weekend. And on the road trip, they would play games. And her mother seemed to be this just limitless source of games for the road. So Teri would share those as we were driving. And our favorite game was the alphabet game, where we would go through the alphabet and appreciate each other once for every letter. And you know what? We never had a problem coming up with a word for a letter. Cyberphonic. It's just there was so much appreciation between us, so much nuance and depth. And I just will treasure that always. In my life, one of my needs was to step aside because I needed to get space from Teri in order to find my own leadership. And I know that hurt you a lot, and I'm so sorry for that. But I also know that there was never a moment when she didn't hold me close in her heart. And there was never a time when I have not held you close in my heart. And it can't be broken. It can't be broken. And I would wish for all of you to have someone in your life that is like a sister of your soul, that you have that kind of connection with. Teri, I know that everybody who had the chance, if you know her, you could go on and on and on and on about what she's done. For this community, she has given us so much. We're sitting in this Grange Hall today because Teri negotiated with the state of Oregon, and I mean, she's just so creative and was never afraid to reinvent herself and to reinvent Unity Community. So there are just countless things that she has done for us. So lastly, I guess the biggest gift of all, well, I don't know, it's so hard to measure, but when she continued to listen to her call and took a sabbatical so she could stop and figure out what did she want at this stage in her life. And the conclusion was that she needed to move on and do other things. She's called elsewhere. That she gave me the gift of coming here and being the minister, which I have loved. I have loved it so much. And so I just want to say, every ounce of me, thank you. And I want to invite Sam Smith. Sam is somebody that has been here. He's one of our founding members. And with Teri's encouragement, he started writing poetry. And if you've heard his poems, you know what a gift his poetry is in this world. He has a book that's back on our table and another one about ready to launch. And this is Teri's influence in the life of one person. So this one's for you, Teri.
Quasars and pulsars, supernovas. The greatest forces of the universe push before them waves of change, transforming dark matter, ionizing stuff of stars, creating the elements of life. When these moments of creation turn potential into actuality, we stand in awe of the light so bright there is no inside and no outside, no up or down, just an expanding presence, painting the universe with the red of hydrogen and oxygen's green brilliance, all the colors of our cosmos. Within the collective human soul, great forces push before them waves of change and paint our possibilities with opportunities so bright the past is gone and only the brilliance of tomorrow's truth remains. The greatest forces of the universe push before them waves of change. How fortunate we are when these forces touch our souls. Let's see.
Kids all have something that they want to share, but I'm going to save those till the end, and I'd like to invite any of the adults that have something that they'd like to say to Teri. Just do it.
I think James said it so eloquently. Thank you, Jane, for saying everything that was in my heart and didn't know how to express to Teri and Steve. But I want to say, I've known Teri now for 11, 12 years, maybe a year or two before we founded this. And I was with her and my husband Jim, founding members, and it's been an experience, and it's been such a great journey, and the journey's not over. We're still going to be good friends. But I just want to express my gratitude because professionally, as a minister, I can't tell you how much change she has made in my life, and as ripple effect. I know my changes have helped other people in the world, and I'm just one of hundreds, if not thousands of people that you have changed. And so the ripple effect, like Sam's poem, has just gone out there and done so much for this world. Personally, as a minister, I want to thank you for giving me my father back. I was in a class, and I, like Jane and her mother, I had a father I couldn't quite see the good qualities, and she gave that to me. She gave me a beautiful, loving father again. Even this was years after he had passed, so I thank you for that. And on a personal note, she and I go for walks with our dogs, and we're both so love our dogs and our animals. And she was there when my dog died, Lisa. She's a busy woman. She dropped what she was doing that day. She came over when I called her. She sat with me. She sat with Lisa. She made me dinner. She said, don't do anything. I mean, this is just two small things, but they're huge. They're huge. And I just want to say thank you for being in my life. You are one in a million. You're one in a lifetime, and you'll always be here. You're always going to be my friend until you die. And I love you. Thank you so much.
Hello. Okay, I was always raised pretty standard Lutheran and pretty never attracted, in my mind, to something like this sort of a community. And Teri's always told this story, but now I get to tell it, which is really weird because I'm used to be the one shuddering in shyness because of her stories about this. But she said she wasn't going to found a church or start a church like this without a certain quality of accountability. And well, here I am. I've realized I've done over 400 services here now. I've counted. And when I first met Teri, I just moved back from Portland, and I just started with Dave Lisa, and Steve and I were both failed car salesmen. That's how we met. That job. I thought back in my day in Portland, when I was playing 2-3 times a week with some pretty heavies, some pretty big names in Portland. I thought I was the man. I thought I was the musicians. Honestly, looking back, I was pretty infantile in my ability and my soul about music. And of all things, coming to Bend, where I was playing pretty much alone and with singers, I grew as a musician 400%, I would say, because of Teri and my involvement with her challenges and stretching of me and making me do things I didn't think I had to do, and then repeating over and over again that every week. I remember two things about Teri that I will always remember. This happened probably 8 times. I'll probably more than that, but I'm gonna be nice. We had our rehearsal, her and I, whatever night it was. We never could agree on the same night every week, it seemed like. And Sunday morning, I arrived at church myself, all ready to go with a whole slew of paperwork, all my music, and she goes, by the way, we're doing a whole different service today. Okay, what does that mean for me? She's like, you need to learn this song, you need to learn this song, we're going to make this one up, and we're going to make this one up, and we'll do this song. And we need to have it done in 30 minutes. So I said, okay, and usually those worked out better than the overly rehearsed ones. So James, it's her fault why I'm so organic. So he always says I'm off the cuff, and now I'm off the cherry, that's what I call it. So, the other one is, the other story was, oh, she always knew what to say before I would perform to make me bawl. I prepare myself, I'm not going to cry this song, I'd be ready to go, be playing my introduction thing. I'm not listening to Teri, I'm not listening, I'm going to sing, I'll be fine. And then there was a song I did called Lacey's Song. And she threw Gracie in, right when she was born, right in, and I heard that, and I picked it on myself. So that was always our competition, is who could make each other cry first, and she always won. So, so for all those things, those are just the superficial, surface of everything. Lisa, especially want to say thank you for me developing into who I'm becoming. I met you way before I was 30, and now I'm 40, so I feel like I've grown up more in the last 12 years because of the two of you than I have in the last 40 years of my life. So, and thanks to the community, especially you. Appreciate it.
Now you guys are in trouble, they gave me a mic. Teri, I just want to say you were there for me and my mom through everything. I love you, I will miss you, and you will always be in my heart. And you are a wonderful person. And what more can we say? She's Teri, hello.
I had the privilege of knowing Teri since Coos Bay. And I can't believe that she's an introvert, because that's what I am. But she helped me, believe it or not. She had a class, and I got involved, and I even did improvisational theater for almost a year with her. And the other blessing too is that I have 5 notes that I can be on key, and my family asks me not to sing most of the time, and yet her songs that the group has written and that this church has, I'm just singing out anyway. And again, thank you for not saying don't sing, so I love that. I want to mention Steve though too, because all of the things he does here, but the other thing that amazes me with Steve is that I just will freak out, like we came one Sunday and the toilets aren't working, okay? Well, I'm freaking out because it's our Sunday to be greeters, what am I gonna do? And while I'm just falling apart, he's getting a bucket. He always is calm and handles everything so beautifully. And so Dave and I feel so blessed to have known Teri all these years, and we love you both.
I wrote a few words, so
Teri, many words come to mind. Spiritual, fun-loving teacher, intelligent, creative, adventurous, loyal friend. But in addition to this list, I need to include 3 more words. Cliff, believe, lie. You see, 11 years ago, don't make me cry. I was standing on the edge of a very steep cliff, enjoying the view, but not fully engaged in life. And then I met Teri, who recognized this and inspired me to believe in myself, my strength, and my wings. And then it happened. Not without some prodding and a gentle but firm push from Teri, you see. My feet were firmly planted on what I thought was solid ground. But it did happen. I began to fly. And in doing so, I discovered a friend. And Teri has given me the gift of companionship, creativity, and laughter. As a spiritual leader, she inspires me to believe fully in the power of God, which it turns out was within all along. Teri, you not only choose to fly, you choose to soar. And while soaring, you have touched the lives of so many at this Unity Church. Your words and your music and your dedication. And as your spiritual and your life journey leans in a different direction, your energy remains. The energy that you put into the music program, it lives on. And the energy you put into making sure that the youth program is strong, it lives on. And the energy you put into doing what was necessary to move into this Grange, which is now our home, this continues on. And for this, I give you such a love-filled thank you. And as I mentioned, Teri loves to fly. So it is no wonder that Steve has always been attracted to birds. Steve, you have always been the wind beneath Unity's wings, and though wind is not always visible, it is very necessary for flight. Steve, you are a generous spiritual leader at Unity, doing whatever it takes to make our church a home. Your generosity and warm heart can heat up the Grange on the coldest day. A fire in the wood stove is not necessary. Okay, so Steve, you're never stingy with your hugs. There is one thing that you can count on when you walk through those doors of Unity, and that is Steve's open arms. And Steve, I not only thank you for what you have done for Unity, but for who you are. For who you are, especially. I know that this church is much richer because of you, and my life is much richer because of you and Teri both. And so I thank you so much.
I know some faces here, but I don't know all. I'm Jamie. And I've kind of taken a sabbatical the last 6 months of my life. Not on purpose. I was injured in July. It's time for me to stop. Because I'm going to compare to learn to stop. Prepare yourself. And I'm not in a great place still, but I'm getting there. I'm coming back. The pain really put me back where I didn't belong. And I've missed you. But when I was in the hospital last month, and Teri heard about it, she was right there. Because that's who she is. And Steve, I can tell you, you've just been a rock for me. All the years I was on the board, trying to hold the church together, keeping it where it needed to be, keeping the focus. And this community means a lot to me. And right now I feel like I'm a new person in this church. As I was gone for so long. So it's good to be back. I'm starting to feel at home. And I just moved, so I'm really tired right now. But Teri, I can't tell you the journey that I've walked with you since 2005. I can tell you that we were both stubborn, and we hit heads. But when we take a step back, we learn. And I've learned so much. And I've noticed you bringing the choice back, and I can tell you that changed my life. I was part of that group when we filmed that. It was an experience that will never, ever